Hi everyone! So today I wanted to do my review on Fenty Beauty. I know it's a little late, it's been out for a little while. I've had it for a little while. I pretty much hunted this down in stores the second it was available, so I was really excited about it and I've been using it basically since I bought it. So I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of how things work on me, so I figured I'd kind of run through the stuff that I got and also do a whole actual application process. So we'll start off. So the first thing that I got from the collection is the Fenty Beauty Primer. So the primer itself, it has this really soft smell to it that I wouldn't say that it's exactly like a baby powder smell, but it's like, I mean, I hate saying baby powder, but it's like this clean baby powder smell. Like, I don't know how else to put it. And it looks like it has a tint to it, but it shears out once it's on your face. And one thing that's really interesting about this is that it actually feels like a moisturizer as you're pumping it out and as you're applying it on your face. It feels thicker and less drying than I feel most other primers usually feel. And personally, I really liked it. I found that it did a good job of priming my skin as it's supposed to do, but also once it starts sinking in, it stops feeling super moisturizing and starts to feel a little bit more powdery, for lack of a better word. And so it kind of almost starts to matte out as it's on your skin. I'm actually going to clip up my bangs here so we can actually apply makeup without worrying about my hair. All right. So the next thing that I got from the collection is actually the foundation. So I just have to say I'm a huge fan of this foundation. I think that everything that they promoted this foundation as is absolutely true. Not only is it 40 shades that really fit a true large spectrum of people, I was able to find a foundation shade that really matches my skin really well, and I feel like that's really uncommon for me. Sometimes I have to settle for something that's just kind of almost there and I just have to accept it. I think the closest I've ever gotten before this was with Urban Decay. I found one that was a really great match. But prior to that, I'd been having issues finding something that worked for my skin tone. You know, I've got olive skin, it's kind of, it leans more yellow, and sometimes there's just not enough yellow in the foundation for me. But this one I actually found was almost near perfect, and I really like the performance of it. So the color that I got is 290. I'm usually about NC 30-35 in max, so for reference, in case that helps. It was funny, when I saw it in the actual container, I thought, like, this is going to be too dark for me. Once I actually applied it, though, it was near perfect, like I said. Performance-wise, I feel like as soon as you put this on, it's so light. It feels like skin. Like you see it and it doesn't even look like you're wearing anything, but your skin looks beautiful when you put it on. So we're just going to go right ahead and jump into it. I also bought the sponge that came out with this collection. So as you can see, it's got one side here that's slanted and flat, and then we've got like our round side here, and then the top is actually got like a little cut off point there as well. So I think the idea here is you can use the rounded side to apply your foundation, and you can use these cut off sides for your contouring or application of some of these sticks that kind of came out with the collection. So that's kind of how I've been using it, and that's been working for me. So I'm just going to apply some of this foundation on my hand. You can kind of see it's not super thick, it's a little runny, it's starting to run on my hand, but it's not so watery that you're like trying to catch it before it runs away from you. So I'm just going to grab a mirror here. We're going to start applying this. Like I said, I tend to use the rounded side to do this. So I'm going to start applying this. And as you can see, it's already covering really well without making it look like I'm wearing like pounds of makeup. Like, it doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look like I've really packed on the makeup. But already my skin is starting to look more even. I love this stuff. I love this foundation. And I feel that, you know, I do end up using a fair amount to get the coverage that I feel that I need. But the performance and the way that it looks once it's applied makes that worth it for me. So here we're applying. We'll speed this part up. All right, so that should give you a really good idea of what this looks like once it's applied. I have really great coverage right now. I would say that there's some places where I feel like, you know, I need to go in with concealer. I have like dark acne spots, like, you know, around here and on my chin. No foundation is ever going to, off the bat, just cover that. That's something that I feel I always have to go in with a little bit of concealer and kind of just do the extra work. But if you look at the overall evenness of my skin, I feel like this does a really great job of making my skin even, but keeping it looking and feeling like skin. So I know you guys can't tell how my skin feels right now, but it literally feels like I'm wearing nothing. And I have primer and foundation on. It's light as air, it's comfortable, it feels like it breathes. So really, honestly, this foundation is just, it performs so well. And throughout the day, I would say that I got a fair amount of wear out of this. I wore it to work. I, you know, went out after work, came home, and my skin still looked great. So the next thing that I got from the collection are actually part of a set. So she released these sticks here. They're called match sticks. But what I ended up doing is rather than buying them individually, she came out with a couple of sets. And so I bought the medium set. So it came with a concealer, or what would be considered like something that you could use as a highlight. It also came with a contour stick and then one that looks kind of like a blush slash highlighter. So I'm going to start off with the one that's more of like a concealer slash highlight, I guess. So this one is called Bamboo. I found that this actually matched my skin tone really well. So if it was meant to be used to kind of brighten up under the eye area, I feel like that's not really, it's not the right tone for me. But they didn't really come out with what I saw, something that was more like a corrector. So just because my under eyes are so dark, I'm actually going to go in first with a corrector and take care of the dark area under my eyes. And then we can move on to that little matchstick. So just do a little bit of correcting in the dark areas of my face. These are those dark acne spots I talk about. Okay, do that for now. Blend those in. All right. Blend, blend, blend. And next I'm going to go in with that concealer slash highlight stick, just so you can kind of get an idea of how they're meant to be used. I will say I don't really use them this way, only because, and you'll kind of see as I do it, is I feel that these are a little, what's the best word? They're very thick, and I'll kind of give you an idea on my hand. You can kind of see that it's meant to be pretty opaque, and because of that, they do go on fairly thick. So I'm going to use my mirror to get in. I have a little bit of texture under my eyes, so it really doesn't help that these are so thick. It tends to actually accentuate that texture under my eye a little bit. But for the sake of the review, I did want to go ahead and do this so you can kind of see how these end up working out. So as you can see here, this part of my face does look brighter. I would say I personally would like something maybe like a little bit more yellow. This kind of matches my skin tone pretty well. So when you're trying to brighten up, I kind of like it to be a bit brighter than this. But as I said, for the sake of the review, I did want to show you guys what this looks like. And I'm using the other side of the sponge now to blend this in. All right, so now they look fairly even there. But as I said, and although they do go on a little bit thick, it's not like it feels cakey by any means. I actually think that they did a really good job of developing these matchsticks to be very opaque and go on very thick, but not feel cakey. And they do blend in very easily. But like I said, because it is a little bit thick, for me personally, because I have texture under my eyes, I just found that it really accentuated that for me. Once it was blended in, it's a lot better, but it's not completely gone. So it's just something to keep in mind as you're considering these. So the next one from the medium set is Mocha. So Mocha is the one that's meant to be used as a contour stick. So just to give you an idea of what that looks like. Right there. So we're going to go ahead and go in with a contour stick. I'm going to use the sponge that I've been using and continue to go through that process. So I'm sure all of you have seen a million contour videos and already know how to do it. So I'm not really going to do this as a tutorial. I'm just going to do this as a, if this is something that you're, you know, considering getting, this is maybe how you would apply it. And where, you know, it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. You just want to make sure you blend up. I think that's one of those mistakes that a lot of people make where they tend to blend their contour down. What you're trying to do is elevate, so try to blend up. That's the biggest lesson I've ever learned. All right, so all these little baby hairs I have always get in my way when I contour. Blend that in. Alrighty, I'm actually using the pointy top for this now, just to blend this in. And of course you can apply more, you know, you can apply less. I'm just trying to make sure that the camera can sort of see what this looks like. And so that should give you an idea of the contour. Sorry guys, my mirror is so small. I'm just trying to make sure that this is even right now. Yeah, there we go. All right, so next step would be the third stick that comes in this medium set, and that's actually called Trippin'. And this kind of reminds me of NARS Orgasm, to be honest. Like when you look at it in the stick, it's this like really pretty pinky kind of coral color, and it's got this gold sheen to it. And then you swatch it and it's so pretty. So, you know, when I saw this, I was like, is this meant to be a highlighter? Is this meant to be a blush? I think it's really up to you how you end up wanting to use it. I find that it doesn't have enough color to be a blush for me. So I would use it more as a highlight, to be honest. But again, for the sake of this video, I wanted to go ahead and apply it as a blush, just so you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. So rather than applying it directly to my skin, I actually like to apply it to the sponge directly and then work my way from there. Otherwise, I feel like I end up with too much shimmer on my face. I would say that this doesn't have any like glitter chunks in it. It has more of a sheen. It's definitely not like, you know, that gold that I mentioned. It's not like chunky glitter. It's more like shimmery, kind of like sheen to it. So I've applied it to my sponge and now I'm applying it to my face. So as I said, you can kind of start to see that I've added a little bit of color there, but there isn't enough of a punch in it to really work as a blush. So I'm actually just gonna apply it directly for now to see if I can build it up. There we go. That's probably more visible for the camera, so. And again, I'm using the flat side. I've basically just been flipping this little sponge around and using it for the entire part of this, the collection. So yeah, there you go. So that gives you an idea, you know, nothing on this side and it's applied on this side. So very minimal sheen. And it's, you know, it doesn't pack a lot of color to it. So, you know, if you want it to be visible, maybe you apply a blush in a similar color on top of it, just to kind of build it up there. But I will say that it does sort of give you this like healthy glow kind of a color to it. Which I really like. All right, just want to make sure the camera can actually see this. All right, so there we go. We've applied the Trip-In matchstick. So now, one of the next things that came out with this collection that I purchased was actually the powder. So this comes in a universal color and it's called Invisimatte blotting powder. So I just noticed that I got foundation on my pants. Good job, me. And so what this sort of looks like is, because it's a universal color, it's basically just, it looks white when you look at it. If we were to swatch this, it does look white on the finger, but it's very fine, and once you apply it, I don't find that it actually leaves a white cast on my skin. So let's just go ahead and apply this. I'm going to use the mirror in here. So areas where I tend to get oily are forehead and down the nose. It's my T-zone, so it's the usual suspects. So as you can see, you know, I'm not being shy about getting this on the brush. And you're already starting to see it's mattifying really well, and it's not leaving a white cast, which is nice. So I'm not going to apply any to my cheeks, but I am going to try to get into the under eye area, just so I can kind of sort of set that. I will say I tend to have texture in my under eye area. So sometimes I try to be careful with powders. This is so finely milled that I find it doesn't actually accentuate any of the stuff under my eye. But when I'm wearing the matchstick, it can be kind of touch or go there, because the actual matchstick does kind of accentuate that texture under my eyes. But that gives you a pretty good idea of what that looks like. So one of the last things that I got from the collection is actually the lip product that came out with this. So it looks like this. In the actual packaging here, it looks kind of like this peachy, neutral, glittery kind of color. I will say it's actually pretty sheer once you apply it. So to give you guys an idea, it looks like this. And once it's on my lips, because my lips are pretty pigmented, I find that it doesn't actually change the color of my lips very much, but it just kind of makes them look really healthy. That's the best way to put it. So that's what that looks like on me. It is a gloss, so it's super glossy. And as you can see, even though it has shimmer in here, it's not like once you put it on, it's just like bam, shimmer. I would say that more what it does, it almost gives this like wet look to your lips, which I think just kind of I like it. I think it looks really like healthy and young and nice. You know, I've gotten used to the fact that we're all kind of in love with wearing these liquid matte lipsticks because they're so long lasting. Obviously this is not the case with something like this, but it is kind of a nice change of pace to have something that isn't just super matte, you know, drying, and something instead that's a little bit different and kind of fun and makes, you know, I feel kind of a youthful look. So those are all the products that I got from the Fenty Beauty collection. So far, as I said, I'm really liking everything. I think the only piece that I purchased that I've maybe not been using as often as I thought I would is definitely the bamboo matchsticks. So I haven't really found a use for this. You know, it's meant to be used the way that I just showed you guys in the video. Because my under eye does have some texture to it, I find that this isn't my favorite for using for that, but I will say that I do like how convenient they are, and I also really like that they are magnetized, so you can keep all of your little matchsticks together because they're magnetized. And honestly, anything that helps me keep my stuff together like this is always welcome. So definitely a cool little feature from this collection for sure. I really enjoyed the fact and got a kick out of the fact that these are magnetized. I actually just realized that I got 2 highlighters from the collection as well, so I'm going to show those to you. So one of the first ones is Mean Money and Hustla Baby. So this one is kind of a I would say a peach tone to it. And then I also got Girl Next Door and Chic Freak, which is more of a coral tone to it. So I'll swatch those for you guys, but I've run out of swatching space. No, I'll do it on my arm. Okay. So we'll start off with Girl Next Door. I'm swatching this color over here. So that's that there. Now we're going to swatch this color over here, and that's that one right there. So I feel that the second one that I swatched actually goes really well with the matchstick called Trippin'. It tends to have a very similar tone to it. So I will say that these highlighters do actually have some shimmer in them, like I don't want to say glitter because glitter always has a bad connotation to it, but there's a little bit of very finely milled glitter in here. So I'm going to swatch the other one for you. This is Mean Money and Hustla Baby. So we'll start off with this one right here. Use a different finger. So this one, not super pigmented when you swatch it on its own. I feel like it's meant to be layered, but let's swatch this one next. Use my pinky. And that's that one right there. So again, I feel like this one could pair very well with the Trippin' matchstick. They've got that sort of corally, goldy kind of feeling to them. So let's go in. I'm looking for a good brush for this. I think I'll use this one. This is one of my new Wet n Wild brushes. So I'm actually going to go into this one, and I'll just put that on top of the Trippin' matchstick that I've already got going on. And I barely touch this highlighter, and you can already see how incredibly pigmented this is. And it's not this like unnatural like disco ball highlighter look. It's definitely, it's buildable, and you can start off light, but for the sake of the video, to make sure that we can capture it on the camera, I will build it up just so you get an idea. So let's pack on some more here. Pack on some more on this side. And truly, I think this is my favorite of the two, to be honest. I think it's a beautiful highlight color. I do feel like they're meant to be used with each other. And another really cool thing that I found with these is that you can use them as eyeshadows. With this one especially here, this was Girl Next Door. I really liked using Girl Next Door and Chic Freak as eyeshadows. So that's another fun way you can use these highlighters if you're interested in finding another use for them. So I'm just reaching for a brush here. Let's see. Maybe I'll just show you what it looks like as an eyeshadow. I should put primer on. Let's start with primer first. All right, this is just my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. Get that on there. This is the old school one. Doesn't have any tint to it. All right, so I'm going to go into one of these highlighter colors. First, I'm going to go in with Chic Freak, which is this one right here. This is just another one of my Wet n Wild eyeshadow brushes. So there you go. So it's this really pretty sort of like peachy coral shimmery color that really just brightens up the eye area. So I'm gonna put that on my lid. And then with the second color, Girl Next Door, I could actually go under my brow bone with that one. Sort of do a little bit of a highlight there. And so it brightens and it adds a little bit of shimmer, but it's not overpoweringly pigmented. Ooh, I look like a fun shimmer queen right now. I kind of love this. So that is the second highlighter that, like I said, you can use these as eyeshadows. So one of the things that I really liked about this collection is that it focused on complexions and it focused on making sure that it was inclusive. Sorry about that, my battery died. So as I was saying, I think that overall the collection is really great. The foundation is most of all my favorite thing out of the collection, but everything that I purchased, it performs well, it looks great, it almost feels like, you know, well, I mean, honestly, it does feel like, and she did, Rihanna really put thought into different skin tones and paying attention to the types of things that some brands kind of take for granted. They just assume that one size fits all is going to be what, you know, performs and sells and works for everyone. But, you know, everyone's different. There are so many shades out there, so many different skin tones, so many different skin types. No one's ever going to get it right in one go, and one size fits all is never truly one size fits all. So it's great that Fenty Beauty and Rihanna basically decided to come out with a very well thought out, curated and edited collection. So overall, I would say that I highly recommend everything that I got. I think the only exception for me, as I said, was that one bamboo you know, matchstick, but other than that, really a big fan of everything else. So if you were thinking about checking out Fenty Beauty, hopefully this review helped you out. And if you have any questions or you're wondering about anything in the collection, definitely let me know. You can put that in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!